Life gives you a million reasons to make excuses that get in the way of what you truly want.
Being a business owner, spouse, and mom can be a recipe for straight chaos, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it anyway. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Laura.
We're two best friends who catch up through the podcast
and talk everything to do with this messy but fun life of entrepreneurship.
All right, we're on.
I should have got another drink.
Are you regretting it now? If you need one that bad halfway through, you can go get one. I'm all stocked up. I'm like fully supporting our
Mine's all
today.
gone. Mine's all
with
gone.
My fizz. So. Oh, you're one already that you had.
Yeah, I'm empty.
And then I have a little tea.
You got two on the go. You weren't joking.
I do.
And you were like,
and I just
let me go grab all my drinks.
Yeah, and I just had a coffee before this. But in fairness, I'm scared because I have my voice back now. It was fully gone last week and we couldn't do this. So it's
you've got to stay
raspy.
hydrated to keep
that.
It's
yeah. So I think it'll be fine. But yeah.
Well, and like I just was away again. So I was like, okay, Laura, don't sing too hard this weekend.
Hilarious.
We need my voice to stay this time because Chelsea just got hers back.
Yeah. It's been crazy. Yeah. Normally we come on here like burst out laughing. Both of us are like, what's going on?
I'm so tired.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I got to remember to speak into the microphone because I keep messing up our recordings. And here I am talking
It sounds
backwards.
really good right now. It sounds really good right now where you are.
Okay. Laura's been on 2 airplanes since I've last talked to you.
I know.
You went to Vegas and then you went to Boston.
So I actually didn't fly to Boston because it's pretty close to where I live. So we actually
you guys drove.
I was saying to the girls that I drove down with because a group of us drove and then the other group flew. It was for a bachelorette party. And I was like kind of envious of the girls that flew because they were there in an hour and a half. They were actually flying from Halifax area.
I would absolutely be flying.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But for us to fly from here, it's like a 6-hour drive maybe. So for us to fly from here, we'd have to either drive in the opposite direction 1 hour and then maybe have like a 40-minute flight or drive 2 hours in the direction we're going and have like a 20 or 30-minute flight. Like actually, I looked at
both of those sound much better to me.
I know, but I looked at the flights from Bangor, and it doesn't actually even go to Boston. It goes DC, Boston. So that was silly.
So that's annoying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd have to connect, and I didn't look at a St. John or anything, so I don't know if those connected as well. But Halifax was direct, so yeah,
lucky for them.
But regardless, aside from the travel time, both of those trips were so much fun. It was just like so good to travel again and do things without kids was really nice.
To be a human.
I missed my kids a lot because I haven't been away from and Zach, obviously, but the kids are different.
Zach
I don't know why, but they are. Yeah, exactly. Like the kids act like they need you. So when you're away from them, it feels like you're really missed.
Like letting them down.
But no, like I was such a mess in Vegas by I think day 2 or 3. I was crying during some of the speeches because like the trainers, because I just like missed my kids so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, take me home. But yeah, and I think it's like, it was the last 2 years. We haven't really been a lot of places. Yeah. So that was the first time I was away from Bo and Cash for any length of time. And I was like, whoa, this is an adjustment.
I feel like in a conference
it was so much
too,
fun. I'm glad I went.
They're always like nailing home, like, what's your why? And why are you building this? And they're like bringing their families into it. And then you're like, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
So like,
I know, I was such
those
a mess.
activities are probably a little bit different on a bachelorette trip.
Oh yeah. I wasn't as emotional, because we weren't really sitting around talking about that stuff. But no, like, there were a lot of men and women on stage. There was actually one woman where her family surprised her on stage. So that was like super emotional. It's like, oh, so yeah, there were just different things on the Vegas trip that definitely like just hit home to, yes, this is why I'm here, but also I want to be home and like squeeze my babies.
How was the conference?
Was a lot of fun.
How was the conference in general?
So
was it a good one? Was it one where you come back and you like feel energized for your business, or was it like, meh, it was fun?
No, it was really, really good. Like,
jealous.
It was, I feel like, I know it was a little more spread out than years past. I think they added like one extra day, just the way they did the agenda. So instead of like 2 jam-packed days, we had like 2 days that were a little more spread out and then 1 jam-packed day. So it felt a little longer. I will say that I almost prefer the 2 jam-packed days and then like have a day of free time, if that makes sense. But I did, like, all the speakers are like, they always blow me away. And I think you just always need that, that energy kind of poured back into yourself. You need those people around you that you can kind of say, okay, I relate to that in this person, and it makes me want to work harder, or it puts into perspective the work that I have done. And like is it Milet or Mayet?
Yeah.
I don't, okay. He was our keynote, and he was so good. Like, I love his podcast anyways, but then seeing him in person and what he shared on was like a lot to do with his upbringing and then his struggles in business starting out, and how it just eventually, like, The Power of One More is his book, and basically how his dad always drilled into him, like, just one more day, do one more day of the hard stuff, do one more day of work, do one more day of that workout or whatever it is. Right. And how that compounds. And anyways, his talk was just so good. I really want to make Zach watch it. And Ben,
he's
actually
so genuine. Ben loves him. He loves him. So
yeah,
we were talking about
Ben
that.
messaged me on Instagram, and he's like, "Oh my gosh,
he wants
I'm
the
jealous."
recording
like,
if there is one.
Yeah. And I was like, I should share the recording with you and Chelsea, because I know you guys.
Oh, do you get it?
I do have the recording. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely need it. Like, soon.
So I mean, like, you'd have to log in to my Arbonne.
Okay, we won't tell anybody.
Which is fine. I will trust you. I can trust you with that. But like, I can't necessarily share it with the world if everyone's listening to this. I can't just hand that out. But
sorry, she's my best friend.
I did tell. I did tell Ben that I'd give you the info, because I want you guys both to be able to watch it. And he was just so good. Yeah, the whole thing was good. So definitely came back fired up, but came back tired. The time
you need like a couple days to be like, what did I just do? That's what notes are for.
Back to like, I know. Yeah. And I'm super happy we have access to all the virtual stuff, because I can go back and
that's
re-listen
so great
to the ones that, I just need that reminder.
Catch me watching the whole Arbonne conference that has nothing to do with my business. Those are my favorite conferences to listen to.
Because all the ideas are relevant.
Yeah, I love converting information, because I think it's more stressful to try not to copy someone directly in your industry, because then you don't feel original. But if it's from somebody else's industry, you're forced to put your own spin on it. So that's like my jam. No. So like, maybe I need to do this by myself, like next week or the week after, as one of my days, because I'm feeling like cloudy in straight hustle mode right now.
And it just, like, the market just picked back up.
Yeah, it's just strange. I don't know if
or is it kind of shifting?
I don't know if it's definitely shifting, but what that means is that, like, if it's shifting where it's a little bit easier for buyers to actually get properties, my serious buyers were like, let's go. So
it's go time.
I was like, yep, let's go. And honestly, they've had so much more success, which is amazing. And just for like a few personal reasons, I'm like, like my focus right now needs to be transactional. So like, as much as I love sitting back and feeling organized and like having a plan and knowing where I'm going and all this stuff,
sometimes there's just no time for that.
It's like, goodbye, all the things we were doing. Like, I just laugh because like Jess is very used to me now, my assistant, but I mean, I'll have all these plans like from like last week. that she'll be diving into. And I'm like, screw the plans. This is what we're doing. Here's another deal to do. Like, and she gets it. So it's lovely that I have somebody totally on board to like jump into what's most important. But like, I've never had it change so drastically. But that's what I've been doing. I've been running. So I haven't been doing a whole lot of thinking other than contracts. So today's episode will be funny, but I guess it kind of ties in. But anyways, I might need a little bit of that spice in my brain just to like, I don't know. I kind of feel like I might be going through like a third life crisis right now. I mean, not like not officially, but normal Chelsea would have like, I mean, our first podcast episode, it's like I have my whole life mapped out. And like recently I've just been like, you know, like plans can change. Whatever comes up, I could go in a different direction. Yeah. Like I've got these different like options laid out that I'm like, okay, if this happens, we could go there. Or so I don't know.
Happen, we
I'm not sure what's happening to me, but that's where I'm at right now.
But it's kind of like, it's a good thing though, nice. In a way. Yeah, it's a good thing though, in a way, because like this, I don't know, I feel like this shift in market is timely for you and like some of the things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
As far as plans and goals and things like that, because it is one of those times where you kind of have to drop the project zone and be on the ground running with the clients you have and all that good stuff. But you know that those things are there when, let's say, kind of we typically see a little lull again in the winter. Okay, you can kind of get back into project mode, you know? So at least you know, like you will get back to those things. They're not gone. They're just
and that was part of, what is it? Jenna Kutcher. Is that how you say her name? Is that who was on that podcast with Ed?
Gosh, she's so good.
So I listened to one lately. And I honestly think there's some of their podcasts. This might be a weird thing to do, but I honestly think we need to like listen to a podcast, kind of like oh my God, what do they call that? A book club, but like a podcast club. We could kind of be like, hey, let's all go listen to this podcast. And then we start with some take. Yeah. I was like, I kind of want to do that. Man, I relate so much to what she was saying. And she said that
episode just like screamed everything that we had been talking about.
Yeah. And she said something that like really stuck with me. And she's like, we always think that if we take our foot off the gas, we're never going to remember where the gas is again. Like we always think that if you take your foot off the gas pedal of whatever your plan was, that you're never going to get back to it.
Momentum, and you're just find momentum
fearful that you're going to fail or it's never going to come back. And it's like you built it in the first place. And so then she was talking about how don't forget that your business and your life is constantly in different seasons, and everyone's in a different season.
That's right.
So like, it's okay if you don't have to like punish yourself for not being productive on like a goal you set or a plan to get some things done that you put targets on. If, whoosh, something changes with clients and you're like, nope, I got to go over here. Like, okay, go over here and come back. Give yourself permission to be a little bit messy organized, if that's a thing. But I'm going to make that a thing for
really
myself.
Good. Absolutely.
What else has happened
before I forget?
Yeah, I'm not going to like jump too quickly into that anyways. I feel like there's a couple other things. I mean, what have I been doing besides being home with a toddler for a week and a half where he should have been in daycare? Oh my gosh. That's the longest he's ever been out.
I can feel your pain. I can feel your pain.
I'm sure you can. With 3, they just pass it along and it just like lasts longer.
Yeah, only 2 of them are in daycare, but it seemed like in the past couple of years, there were definitely times where it was like, can I just get 1 week where both kids are in daycare and I can actually get some things done? Because there was always someone home and there's rules on how long they have to be.
And then you get sick halfway through and you're like, what is happening to me? So I was punished.
So then they're gone back and you're like, now I need to try to function.
So I was still kind of sick when he went back, but I was like, listen, he's back. You better get to work because like you have some free time now. So and what else? We went to a wedding last weekend. That was so nice. It was only for one night.
That looked like so much fun.
We had so much fun. Ben and I both knew that we just like needed to have fun. So we just, it's exactly what we did. It was awesome. And then tomorrow we go camping again. I'm like drifting into, like we're polar opposites. Laura would like 11 months out of the whole year to be summer and probably 1 month just for Christmas and then go away. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
No, it's absolutely, I do like fall, but I could literally have 1 month of every other season.
Yeah.
And the rest of the year be summer. So like 1 month of fall, 1 month of winter, 1 month of spring. Give me the other 9 months of summer.
And you know what? If we had that,
oh my Lord.
I think that I might like summer more because people wouldn't try to jam 5 bazillion plans into 8 weeks. Yeah. So I think it's not associated with what would actually be relaxing in the summer. It's just like every summer, especially when
there's weddings, there's vacations, there's
and if your parents are both divorced on both sides, you've got a lot of family. So like just like around Christmas time in the summer, we're trying to make sure we like everybody sees RJ. We're spending time with everybody. You know, do weekend here, do weekend there, and it's like we're not relaxed.
We have no weekends left.
We are not relaxed.
There are no weekends
So
left.
then in fall, it's just like programmed in me to be like, okay, everyone's like leaving me alone a little bit. Like not in I obviously am having a blast with all of the plans, but my house is a disaster. You come home, you've got bags from every weekend. You didn't do your laundry. So it's like, it's going into your week. Anyhow, it's chaos. It's good chaos, but that's why I'm a lover of fall and I can't wait for it to come. And I feel like the last thing that I need to say before we get into all this is Laura just like to slip in the last couple of weeks, like, oh yeah, I think I'm getting married next year. I'm like, oh, okay.
I think I'm gonna do that.
That is so exciting. What are we thinking? She's like, I don't know. I have nothing saved. I have no idea.
It's so funny. No, I have. Yeah, Chelsea's like sending me little things. I was like, oh, that's super cute. I don't need. And she's like, I can't wait to see all your ideas. And I'm like, I should probably start saving.
I should probably have
make a board or like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because it's really Zach that's like, he threw a date out at me one day and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, even Ben knew that from our trip.
Start thinking about that.
I didn't even know that. And he's like, yeah, she was talking about it in New Brunswick. I said, not to me. Anyhow.
But yeah, it was, we originally wanted to plan for this summer.
Yeah.
But with the last 2 years and everything, there were a lot of weddings that got pushed back. So this is like the summer of weddings for us. So
that would not have been fun.
There was no chance. No, it's way too packed.
We had 7 other weddings the year we got married. It was not great.
Whoa.
It was not great.
Whoa. No, I couldn't have done that.
No, it was.
Wow.
Yeah. And
in the summer or spread out?
I mean, from the summer into the fall. Not spring, but summer and fall. Mostly summer.
Wow.
But yeah, I just feel like every time you would go to one that was super close to yours, you just stress through their entire wedding being like, I didn't think of that. I didn't do that. And then we had 2 weddings after our weddings and we're like, this is great. We're not stressed at all.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Exactly. Just relax.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll do your, yours is later, right? Like later in life, you have kids, you've been with Zach for forever. And I just feel like that's like a different type. Like, I don't think you're going to be stressed like when we were young.
No.
Because it doesn't matter.
So. Like, I think we're like one of the last friends in our whole entire groups, both sides, to get married.
Yeah, so it's going to be a blast.
I'm like, I don't know. It's just fun. It's just, we just want to celebrate and party. So
yeah. Anyways,
Chelsea, your recording went away.
What do you mean?
Your video went away.
Oh, I still see me. I still see me.
It just says recording continues smoothly. Live video will return when their internet improves.
Oh, well,
just letting you know.
Let's really hope that it's not screwed up.
Hopefully like the recording, you think can see your video?
Yeah. I mean, I can still see my video on my
You're going to have to take this part out.
No, you don't have to take it out. I mean, I just think that it's still working on my end.
You're back.
Yeah. I think that it records in like two different parts and then puts them together.
Thingies?
I don't know. I can't explain it properly, but basically like your internet and my internet just like pieces something together at the end. And that's why we have to keep our browsers open.
Okay.
Anyways, our technical difficulties are not going to be cut out because that's extra work for me. So it's not happening.
Exactly. We're just going to keep them in here. Enjoy this 30-second commercial brought to you by
Riverside. Yeah, no. Anyways, that is fine. Man. But yeah, I think I'm more excited than Laura for her wedding. Anyways.
For my wedding?
And I'm here to help with anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think maybe I'm too tired right now to like, just kind of like what we were just saying. Yeah. I'm too tired to put together the energy in my, like,
also,
I don't have the energy
since you've been to so many weddings,
right,
it's kind of like me being in too many houses and then, or helping people design too many things. And then you have to do your own.
Right.
So I feel like you've been exposed to so many different styles that like, how the heck do you pick?
Yeah. How do I pick? And I'm an indecisive person to begin with. So, that makes it extra.
And you're a procrastinator. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not roasting you here,
100%.
But you are. So I'll help.
1,000%. Yeah. It's like, that's no exception. This will probably be the project that I procrastinate on the most because it's overwhelming to me. But
no, it'll be fine. It's for fun. It's going to be beautiful.
Got to put the right people in place. It's funny to me though, that Zach's the one that's kind of like, we got to get this date picked. We got to get this. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes.
So I guess
Zach.
we should probably, we should nail this down and I'll keep you informed.
Yeah.
Make sure you're free that date.
I'll make sure I'm free.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What are we talking about today? So today is,
it's kind of a funky one.
Yeah. It's like two ideas kind of mixed into one because we'd always confuse them. Mm-hmm. I think we've established what both are. So kind of the idea of what people are calling imposter syndrome on social media and also highlight reels. So what I take from it is that highlight reels are kind of what you think of somebody else's life from watching them.
Based on what you see.
Your assumptions based on what you see on social media. Mm-hmm. And then imposter syndrome is kind of how you feel about your life based on what you're posting on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. Based on how you appear to others. Like, are you living up to the appearance you're kind of putting out there?
Yeah. I looked it up on Google and it's not a technical term, but this is what came back and I wrote it down. Where did I write it down? What is the actual meaning behind imposter syndrome? It's not an actual mental health condition, but the term, also known as imposter phenomenon, fraud syndrome, or imposter experience, describes someone who feels like they aren't as capable as others think and fear they'll be exposed as fraud.
Yeah.
So our first question is, do we ever feel like this? All the time.
Gosh, yes. 1,000%.
Like that is my life. I feel like people give me too much credit sometimes. And then someone will talk to me and be like, how are they giving you too much credit, X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like that all the time. But isn't that what the whole world is? Like, I don't know. Like, one thing that I'll say, okay, what did I write down? Okay, so I feel there's a positive and a negative to this. Not a not really a negative, I guess. Like, some people can look at it as a negative thing, but like, what it also makes me realize, and I've always tried to do this, and they always teach you this at conferences and stuff, people that I really like admire in their business, they basically said, if you don't feel inspired to do bigger things, you're sitting in the wrong room. So I also feel like it's kind of an indication that you've been sitting in the right room and that you're constantly aspiring to do bigger things. So you're feeling like you're kind of emerging there and people are starting to perceive you that way. But deep down, you're like, am I there yet? Like, what's happening?
Right. Right.
So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. If you want to show up as the best version of yourself, or if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to start showing up that way. So maybe the world's just catching on before you are, that like you're there. You're just not giving yourself the credit. Now,
yeah,
I'm kind of crossing the line between like highlight reel and imposter syndrome, but there's also the other side of this where people say, don't go broke trying to look rich. And that is very true.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Stop trying to show up as something you're completely not and isn't part of what you're trying to be and isn't a goal that you set.
Right.
And it's not within your beliefs and it doesn't really matter long term. If you don't have like a why behind how you're trying to show up, maybe that could be construed as something else and maybe not something that's great for you. I don't know. That's my view.
And I feel like there's like, and I kind of wrote down like sometimes imposter syndrome is not feeling worthy of where you're at, like not feeling worthy of the success that you've achieved or the accomplishment that you've checked off your goal list, or so to speak, right? Like maybe you had a picture in your head of how that journey there was supposed to look like, and it looked different. So then you have like this internal struggle with, well, do I really deserve to be here? Did I do what I thought it was going to take to get to this XYZ? So sometimes it's that feeling of, I'm not worthy of this, or, I
didn't think of it that way.
I don't know. I don't know how sometimes to put it into the words.
No, I think you put it into words perfectly, because that's exactly how I feel all the time when I say imposter syndrome and try to dissect that for myself. But I didn't think of it that way. And that's probably why I feel that way, and when I say people give you too much credit, or like you feel like people give you too much credit or whatever, I think it's because to the forefront, yes, you got to the accomplishment, but is the back end organized? Is the back end like the best version of what you thought it should be? And you still feel like you're trying to catch up to that. And that's what I mean now about my head being foggy and stuff, and trying to give myself permission, because I'm running with clients, but that's not really dialing into like my long-term goal. So like when you're running so hard on your day to day, then like you feel like you're failing in the long term. So that's where that comes from for me. Like, is the credit due there? Because I didn't really, it could be a lot better. Interesting.
And I think too, like sometimes I think that we feel or experience this more, I want to say nowadays, because social media is so, it's such a big part of business, it seems. It's a big part of a lot of different industries. Right. And we tend to look there sometimes for inspiration and for motivation. And then we can get stuck in that not so nice place of comparison. If we take it to like, okay, they got to this level of success quicker or easier, or maybe also like comparing your start to someone else's start and where they're at now versus where you're at. Yeah. And how they got there. And if they got there in a different way and yours didn't really pan out like that, you can kind of get back stuck into that place of, am I worthy of this? Did I do things the right way? Like, am I really a good example of this for other people? Yeah. And it can sometimes be like, why am I getting that praise? I don't feel like this perfectly rolled into place the way I thought it should. So, you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're
saying.
Sometimes
you feel like you're getting the kudos or the applause for like a weird, wonky journey that you didn't really expect it to go the way it did.
I also think there are so many more individuals in business now versus before, or maybe that we see online. Yeah. And it's different. Like if you were in a management level on a team for a business and they had like a branding department, like you're being judged totally different than someone who's putting their entire identity on the line to grow a business. And I feel like I see way more of that now. And that's where comparison can be so much easier because it's like individual to individual. It's not like individual up against McDonald's, like, or Apple. Like you're not like a big company that you're a part of versus being like the brand behind a company. I feel like it comes up more. Yeah. And we're constantly looking at that and comparing ourselves because it's an individual. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
And then, what do we say? How do we feel when people say things like, don't pay attention to that? Remember, it's just a highlight reel and not their actual life. What I wrote is, I think it depends on the way that they're saying it. If someone's genuinely struggling and is somebody genuinely struggling and needing to hear this? Or is this just an easy excuse to try to dumb down what somebody else is doing to make yourself feel a little bit better? And I think we all have times of both, but I think you have to have the strength to at least be aware, to assess like what you need for yourself at that time. Like, I don't know, like the way I'm going to put it as an example, like you're putting the best version of yourself forward, especially if it's for a business. Like you're not going to go to work in your pajamas, or you're not going to go tell your boss if you go to work in a corporate job. Yes, you're going to have the confidence to share things depending on your relationship with your boss, but you're also not going to lay everything out on the line of how you actually feel about the decision they made or you know, you're not going to tell them everything. There is a filter. So like there has to be a natural filter too to how you show up for your own business, because you respect your business and you respect your brand. And a time that I will tell you that I really put this to work in my business, because I think it's a business tool, is when I was pregnant, because I had to tell the world and squash the assumptions of what they thought my plan would be, because I was having a baby. They thought, so many people either use it as an excuse, no offense to anybody who did this, but like use another realtor and then message me and be like, oh, well, I knew you were having a baby, so like, sorry. No, you were going to go with that realtor anyways, and that's fine. But I had to basically show up to the world to show them I was still accepting business right after RJ was born, so that my business didn't go down. I had my own plan of how I was going to work through that business with the girls, or what I could take on, or what amount of time Ben was going to be able to contribute. But had I just left that up to assumption, then I would have.
You wouldn't have had the business you did.
I wouldn't have, and it would have gone way down. So whether I was sleep deprived, tired, whatever, like there was a way that I needed to show up online to be like, hey guys, like I'm still here as your realtor and blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'll never regret that, because again, my business would have severely suffered. So like sometimes you got to throw a little highlight reel out there, to get the results. And do I think that's imposter syndrome? No, I think that's a business tool that kept my business successful in a time that I needed it to be. And not everything needs to be exposed at all times. But also you can't be sitting on the other side watching people's social media and being like, that's all, you know, they have not, like, why does the world think that we have no right to privacy anymore? I guess, like, why does the world think that you need to flip your camera on when you're having a cry to be like, oh, they're not perfect. Glad I saw that. Now I know they're not perfect. Like that, like what? I don't even understand. You know, is that the only way you know?
Well, I guess because there are a lot of accounts that are like that, right? Like, there are a lot of accounts
more are becoming
that
more
are very transparent,
authentic for sure. But some of those are even
more
fake.
Vulnerable. Like
some of those are even fake. Like, do I think some people connected and built a brand where they're so connected to their audience that they are genuinely talking to them that way? Yes. But do I think other people looked at the friggin' trend and then thought, I'm crying, let me open up my phone? Like, what are you doing? Like, I do feel like there are people who are genuine in that. And I still think there are people who are not. And that's just
disingenuous.
Yeah, that's just our world.
Just as there are on both
ends of the spectrum.
There are on both sides,
yeah, exactly.
Right?
I think it's up to you to know better than to expect that everybody puts everything on the line, tells you everything about their life. Like, I'm pretty transparent about lots of things in my life, but there's also things that I'm not going to come on here and talk about
that I won't
that are really none of your business, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah.
Like, there's often times where we turn off the record button and then we have a couple more minutes of a chat of things that we're not going to tell the world. And we know we said
whatever we need to bitch about or vent about.
Yeah. And not even that, just like other personal things that are going on, or like things that have come up in your life that are not, you know, you're dealing with those things. And sometimes that's not with the whole world. And I would say that is a genuine person, because who's going to tell everybody everything? What's the need for close friends or family members if everybody on the internet is that?
Sometimes you have to, right. And sometimes you do have to go through it first. And there is the opportunity to on talk the other about side it later. To be like, I did just go through this and I needed a minute. I needed to process it before I shared it. But because of what I've gone through, I do want to be more vulnerable and share it with you guys, because I feel like if someone else is in the same situation I was in, then I want to be more open. Sometimes there is the opportunity for that. And I think when it comes from an authentic place and a place of wanting to help others, then absolutely it's worthy of sharing and kind of like breaking that highlight reel for a second and being real.
I said that to Jess yesterday. We had a conversation, and I'm going to let you go back to that, but I just don't want to lose this thought. We basically had a conversation about something that I'm like, I couldn't say that. Like she was like, you should make that a podcast episode. And it's like, there are some things that would be damaging, not to your business. Well, yeah, but in like different ways than you think. Like, sometimes you just can't have an open conversation about certain ways that you feel or don't feel about things until later in your life. And I'm like, maybe I should really write these thoughts down and write a book someday. I don't know.
Yeah, because in like 3 to 5 years, we
will absolutely be talking about that. But sometimes while you're going through it is not the time.
It feels too hard.
Is not the time. Yeah. So maybe that's a good idea. Anyways.
No, for sure.
What else do I have? What else do you have? I totally cut you off anyway, so you probably have.
I kind of forget.
Of course, because I ruined it.
I don't really remember. No, you didn't ruin it, but I was just going to say, and these are little things, but like sometimes I'll get messages from people that are like, I don't know how you do it all. Like, you're running with this business and you seem to have, you know, the mom thing going on and this or that and the other thing. And I say, honestly, like, I'm so guilty of saying this to a lot of my friends as well, that I look at and admire, that they own multiple businesses. They have very busy households. They seem to keep up a social life. They seem to have a great relationship with their spouse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do they do it all? So I find it so funny when I get those messages in my inbox, because I'm like, it's really not. Like, I just didn't show you my toddler throwing their plate on the floor today. And I didn't show you like the heaps of laundry that are literally piled behind me.
I'm just laughing, Laura, because like I say that though. Like, I literally still say that about you to Ben. Like, I said it after our trip.
No, like,
I do. And I know a lot about you.
It's so not.
No, because I mean, that is one of those times that you need to pat. No, it's not even just perception, because I lived it like on a little trip with you. Like, you have 3 kids and they are amazing. And the kids were so good on that trip. Like, they were kids, but they weren't bad.
Yeah, they were actually really, really good.
But that means for a busy household. And I think one thing that you need to majorly pat yourself on the back for is the fact that you still have the mental capacity at any time to be like, I'm going to run a business and I'm going to keep it going and be like, no, I'm serious, because Ben and I had to make the choice to space our kids out, the, you know, fictionary kid that's not here yet. Because we know that we can't handle it. And you are, like, you and Zach are handling it.
Yeah, but I get a ton of support. Like, we have, if we weren't in the situation we're in with the amount of family support we have around us, absolutely, I could not. Like, I mean, you got to understand. Yeah. My mom lived across the street from me when Arlo was born. And now she lives 2 minutes away. Like I get a lot. I'm not sane. I'm not like, I don't have that.
Yeah,
there are days when I absolutely like break and I'm like, I can't do this. How am I supposed to keep up with it all? I go through that. I must go through that once a week. And I think I'm like dumbing it down a little, but I think, yes, a podcast I was listening to the other day, they talked about how when you do have imposter syndrome, like you actually kind of need some of those people in your life, like actually what you're doing right now, that remind you how much you are doing, like, and that kind of give you those praises for how far you have come and what you are.
Yeah, because I'm not just watching your highlight reel. I'm not just watching the stuff that you're post, right? Like, or like you'll tell me, Laura's the type of person that you have to ask, but I know that. So like, if we're having a conversation, like I'll know. And anyways, I'm just saying that's one of those times where you just need to be like, you know what? It can be messy, but we're doing it anyway. I did not mean to plug that. Yeah. I really didn't mean to do it anyways, but, but you are anyhow. It's true.
We're getting through it.
Yeah.
You know what? And something I actually wanted to mention at the beginning of this episode that I think you and I both relate to is that I think imposter syndrome can sneak in quite easily when you've decided to go a route that's different.
True.
And what made me think of this was you and I both, like I went to college, but I went to a 1-year program, didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to like waste the money of diving into a university degree when I had no interest in anything. Right. No, but you only went for as long as you went and you're like, this isn't for me. I know this isn't for me.
$21,000
so I'm piecing out. Right. But both of us kind of like when we were in high school, society, and even high school in general, not all teachers, but some teachers and some counselors
pushed it.
Were very much pushing university, college. What's your plan? Like, where are you going? What's the degree you're chasing? Right. And it's not so much about finding what you feel like you're passionate about or what your purpose is or what you're excited about. And I think that that was something that you and I kind of both pushed the envelope on early on. So when we did choose a different route than the norm, like also that can kind of creep up those feelings of when you start to see those decisions paying off, it's like, am I worthy of this? I did kind of do something a little different. Is this how things are supposed to go? We also don't have the same measure of success of like, I graduated with a degree of this, and then I got this job and I promoted up through the levels of this field. We don't have those same measures.
This is going to be a side note, but I don't even have a resume. That's so bad.
I don't have a current one, that's for sure, but I had jobs.
I had jobs, but they're honestly, not on a resume. I can tell you that right now. Job security for any of my clients wondering if I'm going to be sticking around.
Yeah.
No.
You're not going anywhere. But like when I moved to Halifax, I had to have one because I don't know anyone there. So I was
But I mean, that's still a long time ago.
But when I came home, I didn't need a resume to go and apply for the job I wanted. I went and I asked the person for the job I wanted.
Yeah.
Right. And I think as well, like the jobs I was always in, I have always dumbed down what I did because I was self-taught. Because I was self-taught in social media and in websites and in all the things I did at the real estate companies
we didn't have courses for anything. We just like made it up and Googled and tried, and that is...
And the people around us liked it, so we kept doing more of it.
And then it was original.
Right? Like it was working. Yeah. And it's so funny because like looking back, I was always like, I don't know what I'm doing more than the next person. I'm just really willing to figure it out. you know? And I think sometimes, yeah, I don't know. I had people ask me like, where did you learn this stuff? Or where did you take this? I didn't take it anywhere. Yeah. We went looking for the info.
Yeah. And we kept
we
trying
went looking for what we wanted to learn.
And that's why it's so scary when we're trying new things now, because we know, I think it's scarier to try new things after you've tried new things. Is that weird to say? Like ignorance is bliss in the beginning, because you're like, I got nothing to lose. So of course I'm going to try these things. And you got
to get uncomfortable again.
And you already know what things worked, and you know along the way how many things didn't work. So it's like, is this a waste of time, or is this the next greatest thing for me and my business? Also, I have a funny question.
But that next thing you're going towards usually is, it's going to require something new.
If you know?
What's your funny question?
I'm trying to think of what my answer would be. This is off the cuff. If money didn't matter and you started all over, what do you think you would do as a job? You can't say what you're doing now. What would you do?
As a job?
Like for your life?
Like as working for someone?
Like what would you do for a living if you had to start all the way over and everything paid great money? What do you think you would end up doing? I think I have two on my mind. And it can't be a
I would love. Okay, sorry.
I can't.
Go ahead. Can't be a stay-at-home mom.
I can keep making rules up. Like you can't be a housewife. That's not. It
doesn't count.
That doesn't count. Sorry. If you're a housewife, I'm not discounting that, but I'm just saying. I'm talking like you're picking a career again. What would you do? I'm going to write mine down so that you can't think I'm copying you.
I know it's silly, but I think that I would love to flip lots of houses. Like have multiple projects on the go, be running around from project to project, making decisions and making people work, but flipping the properties. I would love to be doing that. And also some of them being income properties that I keep, but some of them being flips. And then the other thing I would love to do, and I think this is probably the perception more than the reality, is I would love to have the ability to travel and share my experience about it. So kind of a travel influencer, so to speak, or a travel critic, I guess, but doing it on your terms of
your answers are good answers, and they're very in this era. Mine are not. Mine are mine is, and I actually thought I might, I don't know, go down this path when I was younger. Mine would either be a teacher.
Okay.
Or a store owner. Kind of like Spree in your town.
Okay.
I could picture myself owning a store. And I don't even know if that's totally out of the question in my future. I don't know. But I could picture owning a cute little trendy store or being a teacher with young kids.
Yeah. And I would, you know what? I can totally see that. I could not be a teacher. I'm so jealous of their, not lifestyle, but their schedule.
Oh, in the summers, because you love the summers so much.
The summers off. Yeah, exactly. And they have, the time at Christmas and March break. They kind of have that structure. But on the flip side, they don't have the flexibility to just take time.
No, and I'm not even thinking of any of those things. I'm not thinking of benefits. I'm not thinking of any of those things. I'm if I was rebirthed, totally went down a different path, where would I end up? If I had a double life, if there's I'm going to say that, I'm going to butcher the word. What's that word when there's someone else who looks just like you and
in a past life?
Doppelganger, whatever heck it's called.
Gosh. Doppelganger.
Yeah. If there's one of those out there in the world, they probably own a store or they're a teacher. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I can see that. No, it's not that weird.
Yeah.
I've been very close to the store owner side of things because mom had her own store and then she worked at Spree as well. And I've seen the behind the scenes work that I don't think a lot of people walk into a beautiful boutique like that and they're like, oh my gosh, how much fun would this be? Buying the trendiest clothes, finding the trendiest home decor, and just like surrounding yourself with all the things you love and sharing those things with other people. But on the flip side, like I've seen how much work it is. So the money factor would have to be unlimited for me because I'd want to hire a lot of help to actually still love what I'm doing. See, I'm not good at these games because I get way too practical.
But yeah, that's what I mean.
I get way too practical.
The question was about if everything paid well.
Just the same. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't mean like not paid well in those positions. I just mean if everything, if money wasn't a factor, is more so what I mean. So you're not looking.
I think about time. I think about time more than anything. Yeah. And I just look at the store owner side of thing and I know how much, like kudos to them. It's so much work. Like it's a lot of work. And so it would be like, I need a lot of people that would help me with all that stuff because I wouldn't want to put in 60, 80 hours.
No, it's kind of
the inventory. And
it might be like you own your own business, but then it's kind of like going back to your first job all in one. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because you're like going back and like when nobody will show up, it's on you to be there. And those are all the reasons why I don't have one right now.
That's hard
because my brain goes over into like creative and I'm like, oh my God, that'd be so much fun. Yeah. We'll wait till I have time for fun.
And then you're there working the store by yourself. Yeah. Okay. We're really good at this. We're not like staying on topic.
I didn't feel like doing that. It's very I like really didn't feel like staying on topic at all. What else do I have in here?
But I think like for people that are kind of maybe feeling in the thick of it, like struggling, like they're in that place of imposter syndrome. Yeah. And comparing to people's highlight reels. You know, something like one thing is I think imposter syndrome will come and go. You will have it over and over again based on kind of that next thing that you're pushing towards. Right.
I do know what you mean, but I also think the interruptions of things that are good to get you out of that are important. So for example, when I get jealous that you go on a conference, it's because I don't have a conference at this time in the year. So the conference that I like to go to is normally in around February.
It's in the fall.
No.
Fall.
Oh, I thought it was in November.
I think it might have been, honestly. No, it was in January.
But then it's been in February.
It was in January one year, I think, and then it's February. But either way, it's at like that first part of the year. So I don't have that, like, put yourself in a different room.
Mid-year.
I don't have that one at this end of the year. And honestly, I could probably use one with all of these things swirling around me. So not just like business, but like plans and summer and all of those things are great. And I want to experience all those things, but it would be a nice reminder to have something to kind of like ground your mind.
It's like the Jillian Harris one that you're like, we need to be there.
So I bought one of those lottery.
When was that?
I don't know, but I bought a lottery donation ticket. So everybody pray for me. And I'll be going by myself without you if I get
I'm praying.
I'm still going.
I know you will.
Go there and sit by myself.
I'll just be FaceTiming
I'll
you
have
the
to make a
whole
bunch
time.
of friends when I'm there, which I'm like actually like not good at. You want to talk about imposter syndrome?
Would.
I'll talk about that part of things. I think because of my job, the world assumes, and I'm basing it off of like feedback I've gotten from people or like things people are shocked about. But like, I think everybody thinks I'm this super outgoing person, which I am. There's a part of me that is, but I think people would be like, okay, if I could guess what Chelsea's doing when she's not working, like, I feel like people think that I align with like going out for drinks, seeing friends all the time, like, you know, could talk in any crowd. Like, that is so far from the truth. Like I was telling.
I know. It's so funny because I absolutely would have used to think that.
Oh my gosh. Public speaking.
I absolutely do not because I know now.
Like our whole wedding, I was nervous the whole day. And you want to know what it was for? To say thanks to everybody. I literally didn't even drink before that. I was so petrified to get up and talk. I don't know what I said because I blacked out. And I couldn't relax and have fun at our wedding until after I spoke. And of course, Laura went up first and absolutely killed her speech as my maid of honor. I don't remember the whole thing either. I really wish that somebody, like if you still have it, you need to send that to me.
I must have it. I hope you do
because
somewhere.
It was really good. And people were like laughing, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like you got the crowd going. Like what is happening? And then I go up and I'm talking, and I knew Ben wasn't going to say much. Anyways, that's my imposter syndrome. Like there is something that comes over me. Like if I go in to an appointment, it's just coming right out of my mouth. I can keep a conversation going with the most difficult or awkward anyone on the other side, but like. If I'm going to a campfire with a bunch of people who like I haven't seen in a long, long time, and there's like small talk, my skin is crawling because I'm really bad at it. And I think this is probably also going to sound bad because obviously
I think that must be when I just drink a lot.
You're the best.
So that I get social.
So you love talking to people. And Ben, the more he drinks, the more he's chatting with strangers. He loves it. Go on vacation. I always sit there. I could sit there silent on a beach all week. And he's like, hey, this guy over here does this for a living. And I'm like, why do you care? You're never going to see him again. That sounds so cold hearted. But like the other thing is, I think I talk so much for a living. And I'm always talking about real estate. And I don't want anyone to feel bad about this because whatever. But if I go to a party and every person that I step 5 steps and someone talks to me, they're like, so real estate market. And most normal realtors would be like, here's my card. Here's the comps in the area. I've been dying for you to ask me this question. And I'm like, okay, another conversation about real estate. Like, I just want to sit here, have my one little drink because I know I won't drink.
You want to shut off your brain for a minute.
And then when you're talking to people, like my friends couldn't care less to ask me about real estate. Thank God. Like my closest friends, they're just like, we don't care. Yeah. Or like if they do, they don't even have to say that. If they did care, they'll like, can we just set up a meeting and talk about like what my house is worth? Like they know like when I want to talk about it. But when you're bumping into people that like it is like an acquaintance or something, and you're at a big party where everybody's at an arm's length, obviously when you're posting your imposter syndrome stuff or your highlight reels and all you post about is real estate, you're giving the whole world the opportunity to bring up what they know about you. So obviously it's a point of showing you've been successful in what you've put out there, but it doesn't mean that sometimes you're not like, look what I've done. No wonder I want to be a teacher and talk to little kids who don't care about houses. I'm just kidding. I love houses, but you do want to go home at some point. So
yeah, no. And you want to have that opportunity to just shut off.
I'm not as comfortably social as most people think.
Maybe that's why you're like, you like to be home.
A huge
like you are a homebody in that sense. Yeah. Which is why you pour so much into your home. Like you pour a lot of thought and energy into what your home looks and feels like, because you do plan on spending a lot of your downtime. And that's kind of
why I think I like helping other people do the same thing. Because
yes.
It's a very deep-rooted thing, but it's not because I'm like the social agent. It's because I'm so passionate about feeling comfortable in your lifestyle that you're creating for yourself. So that's a very
for sure
conception of me. Anyways,
but like I think if you're listening to this and you're if you're still listening to this, are all over the map highlight reel imposter syndrome chat. And you're if you're in that place of struggling and feeling like, am I a fraud? Am I an imposter? Do I really represent this success or whatever? I think something that I have done in the past, I haven't done it recently, and maybe I need to, because there's aspects of my life where I feel kind of like everyone perceives me this way and I feel like this, you know? But something that I want to do again, and I think has helped me in the past, is I am statements. So they're a little different than affirmations. Affirmations, you kind of are writing out what you want to be true. And I am statements are meant to be really like empowering and uplifting as to what is true, right? And sometimes you need other people to help you write these. Sometimes you need other people's input of what they view you as to circle back.
One thing that Kim
out.
said to me once
right?
before that she learned in, I don't know, she went to an event, is also like a permission slip for yourself. And I think that's like probably important for me, because you just made me think of something. I kind of feel imposter syndrome with myself, because you can build your business to this place and then you feel this pressure to constantly be living up to where you were at that moment. And I think that part is hard, because it's like you feel like you're not as good as you were before, and people are still giving you the praise for something, and you're deep down being like, I'm not even doing enough of that right now, and I was being really hard on myself. So that's a good idea to do that, or to write a permission slip to yourself, or to find, maybe you need to find a room full of people, or an online course, or just supporters online, or people you can align with that are feeling the same way, opposed to the pressures that are currently sitting around you. Or maybe you just don't have that. Like a lot of people, like I watched somebody's TikTok the other day, Janine, she's a makeup artist, and it basically said like everybody tells you all the good things and empowering things about like being worth it when you start your own business, but nobody talks about how lonely it is. And that's so true. It's like, it can be so lonely. So no, like we have been taught and like have made these relationships, and maybe it's because we were in a bigger brokerage, or we've become friends with some people, or just for how long we've been doing it. But for other people, maybe they don't have anybody to even like bounce these ideas of like, why the heck am I feeling like this? So we're here. Yeah. Seriously, we are here. If I would love somebody to like message me or put in the comments or whatever. Like that's the purpose of like why we're doing this, is to kind of like find more people.
Totally. That's actually like my last point.
You go, I'm
which
done.
I'll go back to in a second. But like the I am statements, like even just saying, just point blank, like I am a successful realtor, or I am a successful network marketer, or I'm a patient mom, or I'm a fun mom. Like those things that you don't always see in yourself, but you really are, right? You've gotten there. Remind yourself of those things. Put those I am statements around you. Maybe they're sticky notes. Maybe you write them in a journal. Maybe you just have them on your phone. Cause I know like for me, the journaling thing gets away from me because I lose the freaking notebook. Like I forget them everywhere. So my phone is like I have a ridiculous amount of notes in my phone, 210 to be exact. Oh, sorry. That's just on my iCloud. I have another 115 that are only on my phone. Like I have a ridiculous amount of notes in my phone.
How many do I have?
So whatever it is, figure out what works for you.
Yeah, 237.
But that piece of it, okay, we're on par. And like the piece of paying it forward. If you think someone, if in conversation, you're like, this person thinks XYZ about me, or they don't think so great about themselves, pay it forward. Tell them what you see in them. Right. And that's like kind of what you just did that for me, by the way. Thanks, hype girl. But also like, that's why we're doing what we're doing. Like Chelsea just said, we want people to come to us and say like, I really needed that episode, and here's what. And
even if you don't have the courage to do it, hopefully you know that you're not the only one. And that's why we're opening up and just saying certain things, because we don't want to keep that a secret. We want you to feel, we don't want you to feel alone. We don't want you to feel alone in the entrepreneur world, because it can be like a super lonely ride, especially in like the lows when you think you're the only one
not making it or failing at a certain thing. You think you're the only one that sucked at XYZ. No, trust me. Like everyone has had those moments of like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing and this isn't working. And you got to regroup. So yeah, pay it forward. Like tell other people what they're doing a good job at and share that with, you know, like be that person in the room that is also lifting other people up, because that's probably what you need.
Yourself. Yeah,
and when you pour into other people, it comes back. It does. Your subconscious actually can't define the two things. Like it doesn't know when you're complimenting someone else that you're not
your
complimenting
levels
yourself.
are going up. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? So yeah, when you're like loving on someone, it's also helping you, which I think is
that's why we love
and
each
the
other,
same works
Laura.
in reverse. So if you're tearing, if you're tearing people down, the same works in reverse. So if you're constantly tearing people down, you're tearing yourself down too. So keep that in mind,
all right. Well, we really didn't shut up that whole time. It's already been over an hour, and apparently we have an episode now. We started this out saying we're not sure we have much to talk about. We were like,
this is going to be so short.
This will be one of our short episodes, like a half an hour. No,
just kidding.
Joke's on you.
Once we get on a roll, sometimes like there's just no stopping us.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's everything
awesome
for this time. And we will see you on the next episode.
I'm excited to see what we dig up for next time.
And I have no idea. So we're really going to have to think about that one. Okay.